Namaste, my dear friends. I got a very interesting question and request from you, one of our subscribers, from Uber Chocolato 7838. And I'll read up the question. Vadim, it will
Mm.
be nice to hear your perspective. Request is what gives us order in chaos in our lives. Question: how do we shield ourselves from other curses injected into us by their fears and warnings? It will be nice to know how fears become reality in our lives, literally causing nightmares and tears. You see, often family members say things like this to their children: I wish you were never born, or you will be a failure, or you will never um, amount to anything, or only if you focus on the things that matter rather than your rubbish things. So that is when a child is playing rather than reading, or does better in art rather than school. These negative warnings, particularly when we have listened how to certain sources, may enter us, causing bad things we're warned about to happen. How do we shield ourselves from these fears, from entering inside of ours? Uh, and Some call this self fulfilled prophecy. But how do we prevent these fears from entering us? We love ourselves by default and don't want these negative things to happen to us, but somehow the fears become reality, as was broadcasted in our field. How do we push back or shield ourselves from these destructive signals that corrupt us? This is a very good question, and it's actually a very, you understand, deep topic. Sometimes I touch it exactly on my Amanita course, and we go deeper into speaking about such things. But a certain level of knowledge I'll share with you. If somebody wants to go dive deeper, I more recommend to come for a consultation, or best of all, also to join the Amanita Muscaria community with a direct course. All of us are being born in a family, and you have to know that our ancestors went through a lot of traumas. Life wasn't so easy back in the past. At least the 20th century, it was one of the most dynamic years with the impact on the psychology of people that, well, literally, that we know. Why? Because there were two world wars. Only these two world wars left such a devastating impact on the psychology of people that these traumas are still passing on until today. And especially we can see that in Europe. You have to know that in the Second World War, there died more than 70 million people, from which a huge amount, I think even, I'm not right now, will touch even before the Second World War, for example, in Russian culture, when the Bolsheviks came to rule, which were under the rule of a very small cultural minority of this world, they killed more than 30 million Russian speakers, including the in Ukraine, through hunger, death, and destruction. They killed the culture and everything. They killed the traditions, and they destroyed the nobility, and they did so many things that is just disgusting. Then the Second World War came. Then again, the Russian speaking and all the members of the Soviet Union were damaged the most. And plus, Germans were damaged the most. Two cultures which are the strongest cultures in Europe, one of the most oldest and fundamental, they were damaged the most. And all people who had to participate uh, suffered, and this trauma is being passed on to the others. I'm not telling that other, let's say, cultures were not damaged. I'm just reminding you of the simple facts that in the Second World War, altogether, there died about 60, 70 million people, out of which I would say 80% were only German and Russians. And the rest 20% are the rest allies with all of the countries combined. But that left a mark on everyone. And this experience of pain, it was also passed on to us. So our parents, they're a reflection of those traumas. Every war that happened was reflected on them. And especially have to know that in the 20th century, the propaganda, brainwash, and everything went to such a new level that it's just, childish kindergarten how people were living in the 19th century and in the 20th century. The amount of brainwash in the 20th century, it increased just tremendously when people started to use television and they understood that if to show people killings and suffering, people will stop relying on others, they will be afraid of other humans. And as a result, we live in a time that we're being fed up such a lie that it's okay to create violence towards another person. One of the things what they're trying to do is to program that we will lose our empathy, and then by seeing like children are right now dying in a specific country, that everybody will say, well, that's okay, it's okay that 19,000 people have children have died, that's totally fine, like who cares about them, like children dying everywhere, they were always dying in the history. So this is propaganda which normalizes things which create actually traumas. So, what does the family actually reflect? They reflect all of the traumas, they reflect of all of the bad things that happened. And that's why, in many cases, it's very hard to find families which are healthy, which are happy. And as a result, families and human, they will can only share with you that what they have inside. So, for example, let's say our grandparent or grandparent has went through the Second World War. The events were so horrific that, like, you don't want to even to remember of those days. You want to forget things that you saw. You don't want to even talk about that horrific moment of disaster what was happening. And this destroys the aspect that the person wouldn't have love inside. They would literally would lose all of their love to themselves and to others through the experience that they went through. So as a result, when this population which went through a war has children, how do you think do they have love to share if they don't have love inside? Of course not. They would be very cold. They would have moments of very strong aggression. They would educate their children as if they will go to a war, because we can only share that we have inside. So that reason, parents and families are reflecting that, those traumas and those things and those patterns which are inside of them and the family root tree. As you now understand, there were many wars, so the family root tree and the families are usually poisoned. Poisoned by pain, poisoned by wars, poisoned by brainwash, poisoned by school education, poisoned by news channels, poisoned by university, poisoned by everything that is connected to try to get control over the consciousness and the health of a human being. And we're right now finally living at the moment when we actually can understand how they are manipulating us, or how we are allowing to be manipulated, how we're not using the freedom of choice and we'll listen now to everybody around, but we will forget to listening to ourselves. So in wrapping up the question that you have asked, there are four main questions. So, how do we shield ourselves from others' fears and negative warnings that can enter us? First of all, just focus on yourself. You don't have to listen not to the people around. You don't have to listen to your parents. You don't have to listen to your siblings. You don't have to listen to anybody who poisons you, who destroys your feeling of wholeness. And if you truly love yourself, then just go away and organize your life in a comfortable way for yourself. And or if you decide to stay, then just understand that what they're sharing, it's not something what the soul is sharing, but what are the programs under which the close ones are right now living on. It can be family root traumas, but just simply understand that to listen to unconscious person, it actually has the same aspect as not respecting yourself. Put yourself always first. Your health, your life, your soul. Focus on yourself and put the priority on the things that help you to become yourself, to become happy, healthy, and yeah, and eventually through that, to grow and to feel inspired to act. It lies only in your hands. If your close ones don't give that, well, it's okay. They don't have to give you that. You have to learn to give it to yourself. How do fears from others become reality in our lives, causing nightmares, tears, or self sabotage? It happens only when we're listening with an open heart and mind. So let's say when something tells you your mother or your father or close ones, you listen carefully with an open heart and consciousness. When somebody shouts on the street a swear word or tells you something, you really don't care. Why? Because you're closed. So why you should be open at home towards the things that destroy you. Be in a closed format. Close yourself. Don't listen to your close ones who try to destroy you. Allow them to be themselves, as they are only reflecting their inner conflicts. They have a lot of pain, they have a lot of problems, and as they don't have enough of energy, strength, and level of consciousness to understand it, they're just reflecting upon you, their inner world. So that's why don't associate their inner world with your personal world. And through that, you're going to feel yourself much better. How can we prevent destructive signals, particularly from close family members, from affecting us? First, to tell them not to speak with you in such a way and speak with you in a respectful way. If they don't understand, stop communicating and make it on a distance. You can type with them or do anything how it's comfortable for you, but don't allow them to have impact on your soul and psychic. If you're not mature enough, protect yourself and grow spiritually. Understand that they're unique, you're unique, everybody is unique, and the only person who you have to take care is first of all yourself. And only if you have learned to take care of yourself, you will be of help to others. So that's why if you want to help your family, first of all, help who? Exactly, yourself. Help yourself, become healthy, become happy, create the reality that you wish that all of your family would live. And then through that, the rest will happen in a natural flow. And the final, how do we stop these negative influences from creating self-hate, addictions, or self-fulfilling prophecies? Simply by stop believing in them, stop listening to them, stop communicating with them, stop making them part of your life. Delete them, put them away from your life, put away from your life family members, friends, anybody who brings destruction to you. There's healthy criticism and there's destruction. And you don't know what lies there. So if the person is constantly attacking you, even though that maybe the person loves you, but he continues to hit you and to destroy you, well, that's your own fault. That is your fault, not theirs. They cannot control themselves, but you can, right? So why are you allowing yourself to suffer under mental, psychological, emotional, let's say, traumas? You don't have to be there. It's same like, if one country is happening a war and somebody tells you go kill your neighbor because they are planning to kill you, you can listen to that what people tell you and obey them, or you can simply say, well, that's what you think. I don't want to be part of it. I came here for my life, and I will just go there where I can find people with who I feel myself happy. You don't have to change your city. You don't have to change your, let's say, family. You don't have to change your community. You just have to take care of who? Yourself. When you do that, everything is simple. And the world is big, and there are already places where there are concentration of epic, beautiful people, all who have stopped trying to heal others and just focus on healing themselves. And once they've done that, they really live in a magical paradise where they live the experience what is important for their soul. And this is what I wish all of you. No, you're worthy for what you feel you're worthy. And stop listening to the ones who try to make you feel small, weak, and powerless, even if it's your own family. Namaste, dears, and I hope that this answers your question, my brother. Blessings to all.